hiyo inapita. So tuliacha site gani? Valuation. Tulifanya redeemable bonds.
Mi naona irredeemable.
Yeah? Tulifanya mpaka redeemable.
Yeah.
So tunaweza answer the convertible bonds. Kama tulifanya redeemables, so we have the convertible bond. So also these bonds can be converted into preference or into other shares. Ordinary shares, it can be converted to ordinary shares. So utaniandikia that valuation of convertible bond. Valuation of convertible bond. Right? So andika valuation of convertible bonds, of convertible bond, valuation of convertible bond. So in valuation of convertible bonds, you say they attract the fixed amount of interest. They attract the fixed amount of interest. They attract the fixed amount of interest over a given period. Over a given period. Over a given period. Over a given period. And that put a full stop, say, or a comma. Upon majority, they are converted into, and upon majority period, they are converted. They are converted into other securities. They are converted into other securities. They are converted into other securities. Other securities. So these securities we are talking about are most probably ordinary shares. So most of the time, ordinary shares. And then we have the formula of getting the market value. Remember the valuation that after the market value of the bond. So the formula of getting the market value, which is M, you take the interest times the P FIFA, and then plus, in this case now tunachukua CV. CV ni conversion value. Then remember conversion value, it only happened once at the end of that conversion period or at the maturity period. Ile time ina mature, ndio tunapata hiyo conversion value. So from there we multiply by P5, sio P5. So lazima ujue the difference between P5 and P5 and P5. This one only happened once at the end of that period. So that is the formula. So sijaona questions nyingi za conversion value in your past papers. So hatuta focus mostly on illustration, but ukipata in an illustration then tutaifanya bado. So we have to define what is something called floor value. So we have something called floor value. Floor value. Floor value. So when you say floor value, it is the price or the nature of the bond. So floor value, the same na ile tulikuwa tumesema, it is the same. It is the same as nominal value. As nominal value. Tulisema nominal value is original cost of this security is the original cost. So kama ilikuwa inauzwa 100, that is the nominal value. And then we have conversion premium. So examiner anaweza kuuliza, what is the conversion premium? Conversion premium. So we know premium is any amount above the market value. Premium is any amount above the market value. So this one, it is the difference between the conversion value today and the conversion value in future. So you say it is the difference between conversion value today and conversion value in future. And conversion value in future. So unapata, for example, utapata the conversion rate today is 100 and the conversion in future is 120. So the difference between here of 20 is what is called the conversion premium. Is what is called the conversion premium. And then as we go to the valuation of preference shares. Valuation of preference shares. So umeandika hizo zote?
Yeah.
So we go to the valuation of preference shares. Conversion. No, not conversion, valuation. So preference shares ziko in three. Tuko na redeemable and also convertible. So we have a redeemable. We have redeemable. And we have convertible. So they are all it is the same like the bonds. So when we say redeemable, we can start with irredeemable preference shares. Irredeemable preference shares. So from the word irredeemable, this one we cannot redeem. It will stay there in the company forever, financing the company activities. You don't redeem. So you say these shares do not mature, hence they attract the fixed amount of dividend. These shares, they do not mature, hence attract a fixed amount of preferred dividend CTD into infinity. They don't mature, so they attract the fixed amount of dividend into infinity. For example, if it is 10% of venture, like, or a loan note, it is the same of a 10,000, but 10,000. So they will attract 10% of this 10,000 as a dividend into infinity until your company ipotee ama ikue wind up. So, and how do we get the market value of these preferred shares into infinity? So the market value, we take, that is the preferred dividend you divide by cost of debt or the cost of preferred shares, the KB. KB in a represent, you can say where KB equals to the cost of preferred shares, cost of preferred shares, where KB equals to the cost of preferred shares, the cost of preferred shares, the cost of preferred shares. So let me look at the whole past papers. We have some examples. This is for intrinsic value. I'm looking the old value. This is for what? The shares, you can't get the value of the bond. So most of the time they ask for the bonds. So they don't ask for these preferred shares. But since you are questioned most of the time, you know, on a percentage in theory, 60% is, so you need to know how to define. And then sometimes even I've seen most of the examiner, they give you what is how do we get the irredeemable preferred shares, and then anakupea formula in the choices. So lazima kwa unajua formula inafanywaje juu instead akupe the calculation and akupea selection of the formula. So you need to know the correct formula. You need to know the correct formula. You need to know the correct formula. And that we have irredeemable bonds, or we can say for example, illustration, we can have illustration here. It's not a must that we have an illustration from the past paper. So we can have, say, illustration. Illustration we have 10% preferred shares of what? 100,000. 10% of preferred shares of 100,000. We have the cost of preferred shares. The cost of preferred shares is 5%. Required. Calculate the market value. Of preferred shares. The market value of preferred shares. Calculate the market value of preferred shares. So we have been told 10% preferred shares of 100,000, and that cost of the preferred shares is 5%. Required, calculate the market value of the preferred shares. Calculate the market value of preferred shares. So we said in finance, everything you have to take the formula. So we said the market value of preferred shares equals to the preferred dividend we divide by KB, the cost of preferred shares, So in our case, preferred dividend, you take the coupon rate, which is 10%, times the par value, which is 100,000. That one will give you the preferred dividend, and then we divide by the cost of preferred shares, which is 5%. So let's see whether we are undervaluing or overvaluing these preferred shares. You have a calculator. 10% of 100,000 inakuja 10,000. We divide by 5%.
$200,000. Mwalimu wa math, 300,000.
300. So is shares undervalued or overvalued? So it is overvalued because it is currently 100, but based on our calculation, we are getting 300. So if examiner told you to recommend on the question, the different shares has been overvalued by the different amount, which is correct, 1,000, 200,000. Let we move to the redeemable bond. For redeemable bond, not bond, this is shares. Redeemable convertible shares. We can combine the two. Redeemable and convertible preference shares. So you say these shares have a maturity. These shares have maturity period. Hence, they attract a fixed amount of dividend. They attract a fixed amount of dividend. They attract a fixed amount of dividend for a given or over a given period. Or a given period. Over a given period. So how do we get redeemable? How do we get redeemable? How do we get redeemable preference shares? So we take the preference dividend. Preference dividends. We multiply by the P FIFA, multiply by the P FIFA, time is the redemption value. Time is the redemption. How do we write redemption? The redemption value. Remember, redemption value is only happening at the end of that maturity period. So atuta multiply na P FIFA, to multiply na P5. Remember tulisema P5 is for a lump sum amount. So this redemption value will be a lump sum. That's what we are multiplying by P5, And then convertible is the same. Convertible, you also take the preference dividend. The preference dividends, you multiply by P FIFA, and then instead of redemption value, you take the conversion value times the P5. Conversion value times the P5. So that is the formula of redemption value. And then you can write illustration. And write the illustration. And write the illustration. And write the illustration. we can turn the illustration. So illustration, you say 10% of 500 preferred shares, 10% of 500 preferred shares, 10% of 500 preferred shares with a maturity period, a period of 10 years, 10 years are issued. So the cost of capital will stop. The cost of capital is 12%. Is 12% per annum. The cost of capital is 12% per annum. Required. Number one. Number one. Share are redeemable at a premium of 10%. Shares redeemable at a premium of 10%, at a premium of 10% upon maturity. B, the shares are convertible. The shares are convertible into 20 ordinary shares, 20 ordinary shares of the company upon maturity, and then you say the current price is, after full stop, the current price is 25. The current price is 25, growing at the rate of, the current price is 25. Then you say growing at the rate of 6% per annum, per annum, infinitely or into infinity. So from these questions now, so the first part is asking you for the preferred shares. Second part is asking for redeemable or the convertible preferred shares. The convertible preferred shares. Now, so we said the formula, we get the preferred shares. We said for Roman A, Say MP equals to the what? Preferred dividend. We multiply by P FIFA plus the redemption value times the P5 times the P5 times the P5. So let's get the preferred dividend. Preferred dividend tumesema we take the 10% times the value or the coupon rate. So our preferred dividend will be 10% of 500, 10% of 500 times the P FIFA. Remember our formula of P FIFA. You still remember time value of money. That's why tulisema hizi topics zinaenda zikiwa connected. Zikiwa connected. Zikiwa connected. So, P FIFA is said, remember the formula, we say 1 minus into bracket 1 plus r raised to negative n, we divide by r. We divide by r. So in our case, they have given us the growth rate over 12%, 12% capital, cost of capital. But now we are growing this one how long? 10 years. So our n is 10 years. So we have 1 minus into bracket 1 plus 1 to raise to negative 10. We divide by 0.12. So give me this value. Give me this value. And also you get for P5. P5 get the same. P5 now 1 plus r raised to negative n, which will be 1.1.
Kwa peke lecture ameniasha peke yangu. Uranisha kwitunejere urawatomire but